orders in the U.S. rose 1% in February, slightly lower than the 1.2% in January. But of course, that would not be foremost in the minds of investors right at this moment, whose thoughts are mostly dominated by the key events that I mentioned happening this week, and and the reason which they're hesitating to trade.
Right. You had mentioned, of course, the meeting between President Donald Trump and China's President Xi Jinping. And, of course, market traders are all having their eyes on this meeting. Now, what do you think the market makes of this meeting?
Well, towards, we're still very early on in the week, and President Xi Jinping and President Donald Trump are due to meet Thursday and Friday. But because of that meeting towards the end of the week, trading action has been relatively thin here on the DAX and also in the pan-European indices. Now, then this is because ahead of the meeting, Trump had already been laying the groundwork for difficulty. He had been tweeting beforehand that the meeting with Xi Jinping was bound to be difficult. Ahead of the meeting, he also signed 2 executive orders surrounding trade. One of them was, of course, to combat trade abuses like price dumping, and the other one was to investigate why the U.S. had such a trade deficit with such major trading partners, not only China but Japan and of course Germany. So all of this speak to a certain kind of tension expected on Thursday and Friday when they meet. Now, Trump is of course known for his protectionist stance, and he's dangled the possibility of using trade with China as a lever to secure more cooperation against, say, North Korea. And it's because the stakes are very high that the investors here are more than a little worried, and they've been watching this very closely with no small amount of anxiety.
Well, Janelle, we'll sure keep an eye on that meeting Thursday and Friday. Thank you very much for your time. Do enjoy the rest of the day. And the U.S. stock index futures pointed to a lower open today as traders eyed a potentially tense meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese Premier Xi Jinping later in the trading week. Tuesday will see trade deficit data for February released at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Economies expected to have narrowed in February to $44.8 billion from a 5-year high of $48.5 billion. Now, these are not typical market-moving data, but market participants will keep an eye on them because of Trump's meeting with the Chinese premier. And in Asia, the Australian dollar slipped Tuesday afternoon as the Reserve Bank of Australia rhetoric appeared slightly dovish, while equities around the region struggled. The benchmark ASX 200 shed 0.27% in Japan. The Nikkei 225 fell 0.91% as stocks came under pressure from a stronger yen. And back here in Nigeria, the central bank has continued to support the foreign exchange market by making forex available to the end users. How much impact has this been felt on domestic commodities market? Let's talk to a research analyst with financial derivatives company, Desola Sumoni. Good afternoon, Desola.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Our CBN has sold over $2 billion since February 20. Has this affected commodity prices in any way?
So far, the intervention of the central bank has not really affected commodity prices, and this is for various reasons. Number one is prices are downwards, meaning that when they increase, they do not decrease easily, despite even though there's a change in the broad macroeconomic conditions. Secondly, is the naira has actually been quite volatile at the private market in the past 6 weeks. We've seen it appreciate sharply to 375 naira per the dollar, and it has also depreciated to 395 that it is currently. So I think that manufacturers and importers are maintaining a wait-and-see approach to see where the naira will eventually stabilize before they begin to purchase. Thirdly, it takes about 90 days for manufacturers to restock. Like the average inventory turnover in the manufacturing sector is about 90 days. So it's been just 6 weeks in the CBN started the intervention. So it is the stock or the production is still at the old foreign exchange price. So that's why we have still seen no change on the commodity prices.
Now, you talked about the fact that the Naira has been depreciating for some time now, and that is despite the frequent injections by the central bank. Now, why do we still see the Naira depreciating?
I think that the Naira is suffering from what my boss calls a crisis of confidence. I think that investors, traders, people generally do not trust the CBN because of, if you look at the antecedents, throughout 2016, the CBN carried out a number of policy and signaling mishaps that reduced the confidence the people had in the CBN. And I think that is one of the major reasons that is affecting the Naira today. People are asking how sustainable is this, and when, if eventually, will the CBN establish a more robust foreign exchange mechanism that is floating and that reflects market realities. Another reason is latent demand. I think that because the Naira depreciated sharply to 375 Naira per dollar, people who could not buy it at 520 began to buy. We know what the law of demand says, that ceteris paribus, the higher prices, lower prices brings about higher quantity demand. So I think those factors put together is what is causing the depreciation of the Naira now.
Now, we have seen the reserves deplete again. What would be the implications of this?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. It's just like the half full, half empty glass scenario. For me, the CBN, the external reserves depleting simply means that there's a net outflow from the central bank, meaning that the outflows or the outflows is more than the inflows. And this is simply because, in my view, that the CBN is fulfilling the foreign exchange obligation, the forwards. Since February 20, the CBN has auctioned about approximately 1.2 billion Naira in 45 days and 60-day forward. So I think that in meeting those obligations, the CBD, the foreign reserves is going down, and the amount of outflows is lower than the inflows coming in from oil production and what have you.
All right, thank you very much, Desola, for your time. Desola Simoni, research analyst with Financial Derivatives Company here in Lagos. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll look at the activities at the FMDQ FX markets for today. Do stay with us.